He is ready for this moment and to step up and deliver. And ladies and gentlemen, that player is Colin Gillespie, as he has been absolutely fantastic for this Phoenix Suns team ever since he has been brought into this rotation. And if the Suns want to continue to go on to this playoff push and keep continuing these win streaks, keeping a player like Gillespie in the starting lineup and in this rotation is going to be key. But how are they going to do that with him as a two-way contract, with him not being playoff eligible? We'll be getting into all of that and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I am Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support. We recently just had a video that blossomed on the channel talking about the rookies, going in depth on Oso Godaro and Ryan Dunn, and I really appreciate all the kind words that you guys had to give down below in that comment section, because a lot of you guys, like myself, are very passionate about these rookies and feel very great about their performances with this team. So I'm really happy to see that, and I can't wait to see what you guys think down below on Colin as well. So let us know your thoughts. Without further ado, let's dive in and let's get into this video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack and hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. But this is his time to shine, like I said, with Colin Gillespie, as it is clearly being known that he is a player that can step up, deliver, and really help out this Phoenix Suns squad in this starting lineup. And it's been put on display right in front of our eyes. We want to look at Colin Gillespie. He kind of really got his big push within this Suns team in this game versus the Los Angeles Clippers, which in that video you saw a little bit of a highlight where he hit a big three in that game in which he had 10 points, which all came in the fourth quarter with a clutch three to complete the 23 Suns comeback versus this Clippers squad. And it was absolutely fantastic to see that he was on a roll for this Suns squad, specifically being thrown in to this Clipper or into this Suns game versus a Clippers team, that was on a roll. The Suns dealing with some injuries, needing some players to step up. Gillespie was able to make his name known within the Suns organization with that one game. And since then, he's been able to put himself on the map, as he, after that, has been able to get some bigger minutes in this Suns rotation and been able to find himself to be a starter for the Suns in their last three games. And in that moment of span where he's taken over the reins for Tyus Jones, Colin Gillespie has 13 assists to only one turnover. One turnover, ladies and gentlemen, which is a big issue for this Phoenix Suns team. Obviously, last season, even going into this season, were the turnovers. And currently, like we mentioned, he's on a two-way contract, so Phoenix will have to obviously waive a player to bring Gillespie up to their standardized roster if they were to make the play-in tournament and if they were to want to use him in the playoffs. And for the Suns, like we mentioned, from John Voita, we can see of Bright Side of the Sun that Colin Gillespie is 3-0 as an NBA starter. So not only has he been blossoming, has he been working great for this Phoenix Suns team alongside Devin Booker, alongside Kevin Durant, and has stepped up to deliver with his, highlight game being versus the Cleveland Cavaliers once again in that starting lineup, 5 for 6 from the field, 3 for 3 from the three-point range. But not only is he, hitting those big time shots for the Suns, being able to play off ball or be able to control the ball, as someone who can get to the basket or, sit on the three-point line, but he also does those other little things, gets those steals, able to get 4 assists, helping distribute this ball for this Suns squad, and also was able to notably get 2 rebounds, which is just key stats to see once again out of the smaller guard in Colin Gillespie. And these are things that you love to see. Like I mentioned, he is on a two-way contract, so the Suns obviously only have control for him for this season, but that could all change if they wanted to bring him up to that standardized deal, something that many Suns fans, including myself, think the Phoenix Suns should do. Bring him up to that standardized contract, be able to have control over him for this season and for the next couple seasons, and ultimately get to see what they have in Colin Gillespie. Before he was on the Phoenix Suns, he was on the Denver Nuggets, kind of on the end of their bench as well, wasn't gifted much of a run. But with this team, battered with injuries and trying to find these, diamonds in the roughs, or these, young players really blossoming. Guys like Bol have been able to do it. Guys like Ryan Dunn and Oso Ighodaro have been seemingly able to do it in much recent stretch. And now Colin Gillespie is that other name coming off this bench, ready to step up and ready to deliver and take over to be one of these, key engine players for this Suns team in the playoffs. We have seen without Grayson Allen, without Bradley Beal, clearly the Suns have too many scorers, too many shooters, and need some other type of players or, archetypes in this Suns rotation to really succeed. And when Bradley Beal and Grayson Allen do come back, I do expect them to, to get, some minutes here and there. But I would like this Suns team to really keep this concrete rotation that they have been running with the rookies and Ryan Dunn and Osa Iguodala, running with Cody Martin and Royce O'Neal as these wings to really help out with the size for this Phoenix Suns team as well. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And before we sign off, we got to kind of go over what the Suns should do with this contract, what I ultimately think they should do. And as you all know, I think they should bring Gillespie up. I think he's going to be a key and is going to be needed for the Suns in the playoffs, as we've already seen him be very successful for them so far in their, kind of chase to making the playoffs. Because as we all know, the Suns are still 10th in the play-in, but with that being the case, they're not even in the playoffs, still have to fight and win those games. So having a guy like Gillespie will be needed to do that case. Now, when you look at the Suns, obviously they're going to have to waive someone. They have 15 guys totally under roster, and we know obviously some guys aren't going to be waived off this Suns team. Some guys that I would keep an eye on that could be, waived from the Suns roster. There's 3 guys that really come to mind for me, and that is Damian Lee, Monte Morris, and obviously Vasilije Micic. Now, I think that what the Suns should do is waive Vasilije Micic, as Micic has been the player that has, not registered as much playing time for the Suns. He was, a throw-in in that Jusuf Nurkic trade, as they had to get matching salaries with the Suns being a second apron team alongside Cody Martin. And he also, has interest in some European leagues over I believe it's Tel Aviv that has interest in him, and he, has interest in playing over there next season. I don't think he's really focused on this season. I think he's focused on getting back to the Euro League. So ultimately, if I were the Phoenix Suns, that would be the player I would be looking to waive, because he's automatically on a team option next season. Matt Ishbia has the money. Might as well just cut our ends right now and get the best of it with bringing in a player in Colin Gillespie, because I do believe players like Damian Lee and Monte Morris, even though they haven't really provided much for this Suns team, maybe they could provide a little bit more than Vasilije Micic. Now, obviously, they could also, feel a little bit weary with waiving a guy making around $8 million, as that's what Vasilije Micic waits, and might honestly want to wait until offseason to wait for him and decide on that with a team option. So what the Suns might ultimately do is they might waive one of their cheaper contracts, like I said, a guy like Damian Lee or Monte Morris on those $2 million deals, who haven't really been getting much playing time recently for the Suns, as they view that as, a cheaper way to get out of it, but also still having that flexibility for next season, depending on what they want to do with Vasilije Micic. Personally, Monte was a beast in December. I would not even want to question waiving Monte Morris. Maybe Damian Lee, because he's been sitting on the bench, but clearly the Suns value Damian Lee, and he's, a good veteran. And, I think the Suns are repaying Damian Lee for getting injured last season. They wanted him, to be able to work up to this contract and, fight for his spot. They kind of felt like he was robbed or gypped of that because he got injured last season. And with the Suns, getting better, it's been tougher for Damian Lee, obviously, to make that role. And obviously, coming off of that injury, he's slowed down a little bit as well, but I think the Suns are doing the nice thing and keeping Damian Lee on the roster, but I am not going to complain about as well. He's the 15th guy. It's totally fine. If that's what they want to do with their 15th spot, let them do it. Not all 15 guys are going to play, but ultimately, I think Micic should be the guy that should be waived. I do think Colin should be signed, like I mentioned. Colin has been fantastic for this Suns team. Not only has he been great as a starter, but as a player, his fit alongside these players like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant is seamless, personally, in my opinion. I really, really like what he can do. Him and Tyus kind of play a very similar role for this Phoenix Suns squad, but one thing that Colin can do a little bit better than Tyus is he can play a little bit better without the ball in his hands. Tyus Jones, as we've seen with these 3-guard lineups, working alongside Devin Booker, working alongside Bradley Beal, when one of those players has the ball, he's just standing in the corner, just standing there stagnant, not doing anything, not moving, getting targeted on defense. And yes, obviously Colin's going to get targeted on defense as well. He's the smallest guard and probably the worst defender out of that starting 5. But with obviously Colin Gillespie being out there, I think he can work better off ball. He's a little bit better as a catch and shooter in a lineup alongside Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. And I do believe that like I said, he doesn't need the ball in his hands as much. When you have Tyus on the bench running that secondary unit, specifically with guys like with Royce or Oso and Martin, guys who don't need the ball in their hands, when Grayson and when Bradley Beal are out, he is so significant because he can take up that load of being that offensive creator, that secondary offensive player. And that's why he was so successful in Memphis and Washington, because those teams, when he was was thriving in his best role weren't necessarily with him playing alongside other great superstars and other star players. He needs to have the ball in his hands to thrive. He needs to control that offense, control that pace, and that's clearly shown with him on this bench unit. So I'm really liking what Tyus is doing, and I think that he needs to stick into that role. Obviously, Colin fits it a little bit better just because he can play better off ball, can be a better catch and shoot guy, and obviously doesn't need to demand the ball in his hands when playing alongside these guys. A little bit of a better hustler too on the defensive end, a little bit more of a shifty guy, I think. And I really like what Gillespie kind of brings as an attachment piece to these guys in Durant, Booker, Ryan Dunn, and Nick Richards. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, what you guys ultimately think on this Suns team, how you guys feel about Colin Gillespie, and how you guys are excited about this team. Like I mentioned, 3-win streak going on so far. We got a tough schedule once again coming up, but the Suns do look like they're going to be packing a punch. So definitely be interested in this team in these next couple of games, as hopefully we get to see these same good strides that we've been seeing. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.